Happy New Year. Welcome to Strangers with Kittens. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited about 2026. I feel like this is going to be our year. I don't know about you, but I gotta say, 6 years have been exceptionally trying. And I know for all of us, that includes, COVID times. And that was really, really rough. So much worse for a lot of people than it was for me. But it was no walk in the park over here. And I felt like there was this energy that was just like a work boot on my head. It was just so oppressive and heavy and like holding me down for literally years. And I feel like it's lifting. I've read that since the fall, there are 5 planets that have been in retrograde. When planets are in retrograde, it's a time for review and healing and maybe taking ownership of some mistakes that you've made or people that you may have wronged, or just seeing what you did wrong in some way and being able to review it, learn from it, correct it, move forward. And I feel that. And I also feel like it's not quite like we're not hitting our stride yet, but I feel like I don't know. I'm like in a jog and it's going to be a gallop and it's going to be a full out run. So I hope you feel that way. I hope 2026 is that for everyone. I just know so many people for whom the last couple of years has been the most trying times. It made a lot of people I know sort of feel like they don't know who they are anymore, and myself included. And I'm just really excited to, I don't know, just step into a new kind of energy. So I hope that's true for everyone, and I hope it's all good. One exciting thing I have coming up next week is Podfest in Orlando. I use this company called Buzzsprout that broadcasts this podcast to Spotify and Apple and iHeartRadio and all the platforms. And they kind of sponsored my podcast to go to Podfest. So I've never been. I'm really excited. And I will, take some video, show some content from Podfest and show you all what it's like, what it's about. I don't know, fun stuff. It's in Orlando. I mean, I've been with my kids, but this is going to be the first time that I've ever been there just as an adult doing something for work. So that'll be interesting. It'll be a nice break and some sunshine, hopefully. Things that I love that I feel like will improve your life. I want to start telling you guys about some of the things that I really love. And um this isn't any sort of paid endorsement thing. This is just stuff that makes my life better. I am big into the water pick. I feel like it's great for kids or whomever who have braces because it's literally a power washer for your mouth. Um, it's good for everybody, but I feel like, when you're late 40s and up, it's just naturally with time, our gums recede. Maybe you have a crown, maybe you have whatever going on. And it's just a way to sort of just power wash everything, make everything healthier. It feels good. I mean, you can adjust the pressure. I'm a bit of a masochist, so I, I always put it on really high, and then sometimes I make myself bleed, and that's, I don't know, satisfying because I'm just like, okay, well, I guess there was irritation there, and I got rid of that. But I'm a big fan of the water pick. So put that on your list of things to do for yourself, self-care in 2026, because I feel like that's another sort of resolution that I've made is I'm really going to put more time into, or just, I don't know about time because I can't like create more time in the day, but just more of a routine of taking care of myself. I feel like pre-kids, I was more diligent about my routines, doing like masks at least once a week and um, going for pedicures and things like that. And then life takes over, right? Your job gets crazy, your home life gets crazy. Everybody wants a piece of you. And suddenly there isn't enough to go around. And the last thing you have time for is sitting with a mask on your face for 25 minutes or whatever. So I'm sure I'll multitask. I'm sure I'll be doing something else while I've got a mask on, but that's fine. But at least I'll be doing it. So I hope that you'll take time to develop a routine for your skin, for your mental health. I feel like slapping on a mask and moisturizing your feet or waiting for your nails to dry or whatever the case may be sort of forces you to stop and breathe. And it's got mental health benefits too. So if it's a bubble bath, if it's a aromatherapy shower, ooh, which reminds me, seems like it's unrelated, but it's not. Another thing that I've been doing is I have a treadmill, which I got with thank you points on my credit card that I have in my basement. I also have a TV and I work out to shows that I want to watch, that I want to stream. And I don't let myself watch the show unless I'm working out. So the treadmill's kind of loud. I end up having to put captions on because I can't always catch everything because the treadmill's loud. So it seems weird to work out, to be like running to Pride and Prejudice circa 1996 with Colin Firth. But it works for me. I want to see the next episode. So it makes me put my sneakers on and jump on the treadmill. And I used to be someone who ran outside with powerful music and music that really kept me going. And I still love that. I still have my playlists. I love those playlists, but I took a couple of bad falls outside and I don't know if I'll never go back to running outside, but I broke my ankle last year and that was not fun. And I don't ever want to do that again. So I think I may be a strictly indoor runner for the rest of my life. Maybe not. Maybe it'll get nice out and I'll get the itch and decide that the risk is worth it. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. But I was in a boot for so long and on crutches for so long. And I still don't have full range of motion in my ankle. I don't know if I ever will. So I feel like, is it really worth it for me? I think I need two handles next to me in case I stumble so I can grab them. And that works. So I have a show, whatever it may be, the current show that I want to watch. I exercise to it. Sometimes I stop mid episode if I'm done exercising. It's incentivizing. So if you haven't thought of that, there's an idea for 2026. I told you about my manicurist. I did this. I mean, it's not perfect, but this little Frenchy manicure myself with manicurist gel manicure at home. Still loving it. I love it so much. I've gotten so many colors and I've gotten little like artist brushes to do stripes and polka dots. And I've got I haven't done it yet because I'm a little intimidated, but glitter and stuff to put on top of my colors. So, more fun, more creativity in 2026 is another thing that is a goal of mine. So if that floats your boat, there you go. So yeah, it's now the first week of January. I'm excited about this year. I hope you are too. I mean, there is no precedent to the reality we're living in right now in terms of world politics, domestic politics, our leader. It feels very surreal and scary, but you can try to control your little universe as much as possible. And I think, especially because of what's going on in the world, you need to balance doing what you can socially with taking care of yourself and recharging and protecting your peace. And those are some ways that I protect my peace. So I hope that you will do that in 2026 because look, it feels like it's been 80 years that we've been living in this upside down, but it's only been a year. God, I can't believe it. So it's going to be a while. And I feel like you need to just strap in for the long haul and get a lot of self-care in your life to endure it because it's going to be a while, but it's not going to be forever. We are going to come out of this. It's going to get better. It is. And we're going to learn from it. And hopefully it'll never happen again. How do you like my shirt, you guys? It's nostalgia, but look, it's like shimmer. It's got shimmer. I discovered this makeup artist. My friend Kimmy sent me this makeup artist. I think her name is Taylor Ann. It's Taylor something. It might be, I think it's Taylor Ann. If you put in your Instagram search Taylor makeup artist, she'll probably come up and she is so fun. You won't believe the transformations that she does on herself. And granted, her style, like her makeup style is not mine, but you know, to each his own. She's into really dramatic makeup and adventurous color. Like when she shows her makeup palette, if somebody gave me this makeup palette, I'd be like, what am I, 10 years old? But she uses these crazy colors and she looks beautiful. And it just made me feel like I need to branch out. I need to have some fun. I need to get more creative. I need to take more risks in whatever area of your life that may be. I'm talking about a makeup artist, but it just makes me, in general, it makes me want to wear more fun outfits. It makes me want to, put some color makeup on my face. It makes me want to choose joyful, bright, colorful clothing. I don't know, go to a dance party. Have you guys heard about early birds? It's this dance party for women only. I mean, legally you can't say for women only, but they just kind of ask that people keep it women only because we just want to have fun and not, I don't know. It's just different when it's co-ed, but it's dance parties that I think they go from 7 to 10 p.m. Uh, it's so fun because it's like dance parties for women who have shit to do, I think is their slogan. And they're all over and they sell out all over. I got tickets for February and I'm super excited in New York. They were in Brooklyn, but they sold out before I was able to get tickets. But I got tickets for Manhattan in February. I know they've been in like Chicago. I think they were in Milwaukee. Yeah, they've been all over. So look up Early Birds because it looks really fun and it just looks like a love fest. And who doesn't just need to hear good music and just dance with like-minded people? So put that on your list for 2026. More joy, more fun. And you know what? I know this is going to sound really woo woo, but I feel like wearing glittery eyeshadow and going to a dance party might sound frivolous, but that is I don't know, that could be the stone that's thrown into the pond that ripples out to make so many more people happy. Listen, I can cite examples from my life where something terrible happened and the ripple effects and the generational pain that caused is real and very easily documented. So if that's the case, right? If something horrible can cause such trauma that it causes pain that's passed down through generations, then the same has to be true for joy. So if you bring more joyful experiences into your life, that has to have a ripple effect. You come home happy from a dance party and you hug your kids, you hug your partner, you, I don't know, send your friend flowers, call someone you haven't talked to in a while because you have this joy bubbling inside you. And then that phone call makes them really happy. And then they turn around and they hug their kid and so on and so on and so on. It's like the wheat germ oil and honey commercial from the 70s. Remember that? And she tells two friends and she tells two friends and so on and so on and so on. And so really, by getting yourself some glittery eyeshadow, by getting yourself a fab manicure or a manicure kit where you can play and have fun, or going to a dance party, or taking a sewing class, or doing whatever makes you happy, that has to have a ripple effect. So, really, buy some glitter eyeshadow, change the world. This is all I'm saying. Now, for part 2 of my interview with Cynthia Levin. Strangers with Kittens. Gen X stories from the least parented generation.
I teach people how to handle sickening things. I mean, it's literally because I teach acting and I teach, stand up. So I stand up, we use all the
Yes.
sickening things in life and we, make turn them into comedy and acting, it's like addressing feelings, addressing fears, worries, whatever, blah, 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 in order to act and play, you know what I mean? Be in touch with your own feelings because we're all blocked by our fears and our confidence and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like a pro at this, not to say that I'm good for myself. I'm just really good at helping other people.
Useful
Yeah,
and
yeah,
positive.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my sickening life, I think, is, helped others, I think. Mm.
I feel like that's a title for an upcoming sitcom.
My sickening life. That's right. That's right.
Um, so how did you get into going I mean, were you always teaching even when you were performing,
Yeah,
or is
I've
that some
literally well, because you know what happened, I was living in LA, I had been doing stand-up at this point, maybe, about 6 years at this time, and, I'd been
Yep.
waitressing nonstop, and it was sickening. Talk about sickening,
Mm,
and it was sickening again, it's about perspective, right? It was fine for a long time, I waitressed for a long time, and I had some places I loved, and it was all good and everything, but then I started working for a guy who was a manager who was abusive, I mean, like, really mean to everybody, and he ended up getting fired
mm.
for shoving the owner's sister, and
Oh my
he was
gosh.
physical with me, and also
Wow.
emotionally abusive. I used to hide in the freezer, and my joke is that I would come out with a
Oh my
giant frozen
god.
teardrop. Nobody noticed, like, no,
Oh,
but it was like, oh, it was
yeah.
terrible. And so I was trying to get out of that. And there's so much more story to that because I'm writing a show called Two Good Legs to Waitress on.
I love that.
Because this woman from my Al Anon meeting from noon in Glendale, she said to me, she ran the meeting, she had the cutoff sleeve blouse, short hair, big gal, been outside only, didn't know there was an indoors. I called her one day and I was like, "Oh, I want to quit waitressing. I can't take it anymore." Right. I was like crying, sobbing. She goes, and it took me a long time just to come to that decision, even though the guy was abusing me. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
yeah.
she said, "Ah, you're just lucky you got two good legs to waitress on." That's tough love, all right. I don't know if the love part is in there, but it's
Yeah.
definitely tough.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say, seems like just the tough without the love,
yeah,
but okay.
yeah, and she's in her 70s or something, and she was watching a spaghetti western in the background. You just hear, "Yeah, yeah," and she's like, "Yeah, yeah," like, whatever. So I was trying to talk over. She never lowered it. I was
Oh
trying
my
to talk
god.
over that. It was so funny. But anyway, it was really down, and you have to pay your rent. And I told my friend Peter Sprite, he's a wonderful guy,
No.
he was one of my close friends, and I was crying to him one day, and I was like, "Peter, I can't take it anymore," whatever. And I'm like, "I don't know what to do, and I don't want to." And he said, "Why don't you teach acting?" And this is in 1990 4, I think. And I was like, "Who, me?" Because I always felt like such a loser. I'm like, "I don't know who, me? Why would anybody?" Whatever. But I've been studying my whole life, and it was the
Right.
one thing that I dug and the one thing I understood. And I think people you don't realize that you're teaching people while you're talking. I didn't know I was doing that in general, like maybe on stage and whatever, because that's sort of just when I have an epiphany, I share it. That's how it is. When I learn something, I share it, and sort of I think it's sort of a natural thing for me. Meaning like if my life could suck, but yours doesn't have to. Let me help you. No, I was kidding, but anyway,
Right,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I started teaching stand-ups acting, and I brought a flyer nervously to Pedersen's, coffee house where we performed every Tuesday night and passed out a flyer. That's what you did in those days, flyers. It was just
Yep.
like, and,
Yeah.
it got full classes and everybody said it changed their life or, I mean, it was really a really amazing experience. And what taught me though, because it was years later when they had said that to me, but it was like it showed me what I didn't know I knew. Like, that's what teaching can do for
Yeah.
somebody is like you don't even know what you know until you try to teach somebody. And so then I turned out that I was good at it, and I love directing too, and I still do that. I still teach acting, and I love the directing as I love all of it. But of course, I want my
Yeah.
own career. That just hasn't happened yet. I mean, I have one, but it isn't, the one I wanted. The giant one.
Want, yeah.
So,
Yes, yes.
but that I thank God I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. It's coming. I think for me, it's been a process. So, but yeah,
You've
and
got 2 good legs to teach and direct with.
and a big mouth, and that really is helpful.
It is. I'm
Right?
very fond of the big mouth.
Exactly.
I feel I feel like as a stand-up, the thing that perplexed me when I was doing stand-up and wanted to try acting was when you're a stand-up, you're so authentically
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah,
right? We spend so much time, and I think when you have a big mouth and when you're sort of the truth teller of your family, right? Like, you fight so hard for that and to be authentic
right.
and true to yourself, and then what I couldn't wrap my brain around, and I don't know if you struggled with this at all, is I felt like, a fraud trying to pretend I was someone else,
Mm.
when I would
Acting?
see a script, I'm like,
Mm.
"Nobody's gonna buy that I'm
Oh,
this
right, right,
person,"
right,
right?
right, right.
And then an acting teacher told me, you know how someone can just say something and it's a key that unlocks something so
Sure,
simple, but you
sure.
couldn't see it
Yep,
before? That it's just you, you're just pulling another aspect of yourself out
100%.
of you,
Exactly.
still be
That's
yourself,
right,
right?
right.
And that was an epiphany to me.
Yeah,
It was like, "Oh, I'm still me, this is just this part of me."
1,000,000% because I learned, I did this when I was living in London for a few years, and I found shadow work. And it's sort of what I teach in acting, but I think I was talking about it, but I didn't experience it. Hadn't really even experienced it. I understood it, but not, didn't really get it. So I
Mhm.
started doing shadow work with this one of my students, who was doing shadow work with people, and it's Carl Jung, a style of
Yeah,
therapy. And so what shadows is are those parts of yourselves that we shove down be unconsciously. We don't even know that they're there because we're like, I teach this in acting that we're all born with the same traits and the same emotions. And based on our childhoods, we decide which ones are good and which ones are bad. And we do that unconsciously. Whenever we experience something in the extreme, we kind of go, okay, that's not me. I'll never be like that. And then we effort in the total opposite direction in the extreme, which and we all know that now, particularly in our environment, that anything in the extreme is bad for you regardless of what it is. So, like,
right.
and so if you're
Being a
shoving
people pleaser is bad and
exactly,
toxic for you. Yeah.
exactly. So, like, if you're shoving down that part of you, you're efforting to be this other thing that you already are. Now you're wasting energy on both ends. You know what I mean? And that's not
Yes.
loving because you're not loving that part of you, and you're thinking that's not you either. But it is you. It's just that you have shoved it down, and we come by these decisions, naturally. Honestly, we come by it honestly. It's like because of what you experience. So it's about
Right.
paying attention to, like you were saying, you talk about listening to your body and all that kind of stuff. It's so critical because your inner being has endless, infinite wisdom. It's connected to the universe, to spirits, and
All other beings.
everything. Exactly. And your body, and your brain, that's just your ego in action, your brain. No. Um, so listen less to this and more to this, and more to the third
Mhm.
brain and your tummy, so
Yeah.
yeah, so all that stuff, I love that, and I love that you do that. I love that because now you get to like be all parts of you. You get to decide whether that I'm going to use that part of me or not, as opposed to I can't help it. This is the way I am,
Yeah.
and I'm right about it. Okay.
And you are instantly a character.
And you are because you are living in the
Yeah.
extreme of
It's
one
like, "Oh,
aspect of
I know
yourself.
that."
Exactly, you become
Yeah.
a caricature, and it's all driven
Yep.
by an ego. And when you're disconnected from heart, spirit, conscious, being conscious. You're not conscious, you're unconscious.
Right, and I'm gonna veer off our
Yeah,
path a little
please.
bit
My
here to
God,
just say that I
Jesus.
think that that's where so much of toxic masculinity comes from, because boys from such an early age are bullied into whether the world, the people around them, parents, whatever, intend to or not, keep telling them they can't have that emotion, they can't have this
Mhm,
emotion, they can't express this
mhm.
or that,
Yeah,
and so, you know, all these parts are suppressed,
yes, yeah,
and
and
it's not good for
it
anybody.
isn't, and it's a hard thing to fight against if you're a parent or, mother or in a relationship or if you are a teacher. I've had male students say, "Yeah, you don't wanna see me get mad, alright? You don't wanna see it." And I'm like, "It's okay." Like, meaning, like, they're trying because they're also told you're an angry person, shove that down. And the thing is what
Mhm.
I tell everybody is we need to express all of our feelings, in a safe place, right? It's
Right.
and not blame somebody with them or for them, but express them, let them out. That's what emotion is. It's
Right,
energy,
in an
emotion.
appropriate way.
Absolutely, right? Do it in a safe place and not again, not it's not to take out on somebody else, but to just feel. So I've had to deal with that toxic masculinity, and of course, and they come by it honestly too. But that's why we all have to kind of pay attention to what are my beliefs? What do I think? Like, what does this feel good? What I'm thinking, or what I'm feeling, or what I'm doing. Does this feel good? And if it
Mhm.
doesn't, that's not in alignment with who you really are. and like, shoulding yourself. I did a whole show called You Got to Be Should in Me, Conversations with My Ego, Carl.
Oh, I love that. You have the best titles.
They're all really long, try to get it all in there. But yeah,
Long and cerebral, I love it.
but yeah, but that was all about when I met my ego when I did that shadow work. His name's Carl. He's like a bouncer at a nightclub that nobody goes to anymore, just out there anyway, protecting protecting nothing, just
I feel like your acting classes must be so
they
therapeutic.
they are. They really are. Like, it's both. It's therapy, it's in a safe place, and kind of know how to address stuff, you know what I mean? It's critical to address that stuff. You can't do superficial acting or play somebody else if you can't be yourself. Like, you need to be
Right.
you, even understand you to understand anybody else. You have to feel your feelings in order to feel somebody else's feelings. You have to have empathy for yourself to have empathy for somebody else. It all starts with you. So anybody who thinks that they can just do it without all that shit, I'm not going to enjoy watching you.
I think that's why stand-ups are such good actors because they've already done so much work accepting themselves and expressing themselves that then when they start acting, it's so much more authentic.
I think that's true for most people. Yeah, I think that's true. I think although some of them have them catch themselves in a persona that they're afraid to
Mhm.
come out of because because they're not being their true self. Some people play characters as comics, like over the top,
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
big. Not to say you can't, even if your character is really over the top and big, but if you're afraid for people to see the real you, you know, then you might have trouble acting, which I've seen that
Right.
before as well. I think we have a leg up because you do know who you are in general, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've done so much work already trying to figure out what your voice is.
Uh-huh.
And I think most comics have embraced the darker parts of themselves
Oh,
in one way or
hello.
another,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh,
I mean, it's where it comes from,
right.
right? So, we're already light years ahead of a lot of people,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. How long were you doing stand up
Um,
for?
I started in 90 well, I think I took my first stand-up class
With who?
in 90
Oh, we were
S
in Jersey though.
Stephen New
New
York.
York. Okay.
Yeah. Steven
Yeah, I
Rosenfeld.
know Steven
I forget
Rosenfeld.
now.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, mhm. He moved.
I saw an ad in the back of the Village Voice and was like, "Oh my god," like, I didn't know this even exist like, comedy classes, and I don't think I really knew how much I loved stand-up until I saw that,
Yeah.
because I was always sneaking down when I was a kid to watch the comics on late night,
Yep.
but I never, could imagine that they just seemed like otherworldly beings to me.
Right,
It didn't
right,
seem like something that was, like, possible for me, you
right.
know? And then I saw this class and I was like, "Wait, this is something that I can be taught?"
I love that.
And then, I remember seeing the ad and shutting the page because I thought that I was imagining it. Like, that's how magical it felt.
Oh.
And then I opened it again and I was like, "Oh my
Mm.
god, this is
Is this what
real."
you really
And
wanted? It
then I
really spoke to
oh
your
my god,
spirit.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I called to see how much it was, and I was making no money. I was working as a film
I
publicist at,
can't
like, an
relate to
indie
that. Yeah.
film This was the '90s.
This is the 2025s. Go on.
Yeah. It's so hard to describe what it was like to, like, not have a credit card, not be like, even though I had health insurance, I didn't it was pre-existing condition, so I didn't really have any coverage for the
I see.
first year.
Uh-huh.
So it was like I was financially in such a precarious position. I had
Right.
enough money for my bus ticket, my subway tokens, and a piece of like a slice of pizza on
Right.
Fridays.
Right.
Like that was it.
Right.
And so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna need some time to get that kind of money together."
Mhm.
And saved up for months, and then I called and signed up, and then I called and canceled. And then I called and signed up, and I
Oh,
called and canceled.
no.
And finally, the 3rd time, I forget the woman's name, but she was like his assistant, and she's like, "Eileen, are we going to go through with it this time?" And I was, like, so mortified. 'Cause you were still kind of anonymous on the phone back
Yes,
then,
yes,
you
and now
know?
she knows your name.
Yeah, but I had signed up already,
Right,
so
right,
she
right,
was
right,
like,
I
"Come on
know.
now," and I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh my god, I'm
yeah.
a mess." And so I went through with it, and it was just oh my god, it was like being a fish and being put into water for the first
Aw,
time,
isn't that amazing? Yeah,
and
and then
everyone was just fascinating to me,
right?
and
Me too.
yeah,
That's why when I
yeah,
teach it, I'm like it's a blast. Like, I mean, why wouldn't I? It's certainly not for the
so much
money.
fun.
But
Yeah.
anyway, no.
No,
No, but it's
no, I know.
yeah, I'm still one of those people that, like, go on sliding scale and, like, like, "Well, just do whatever you can," that's
Yeah,
unfortunately.
'cause you get it.
Well, I do get it. I'm that because 'cause I'm on the other end. I've been on the other end, only pretty
Mhm.
much, so I get it, and I want people to find their funny. I want them to like you had that experience. When I took Judy Carter's class in LA
Oh, yeah.
and it was like 89 or early 90. As soon as I stepped up there, I mean, I thought I was going to an acting class. My guy I was dating said, "You should take this class." My brother took it. He really liked it. I just assumed it was an acting class. I didn't even ask. So he put a down payment down and I paid the rest of it. And then I show up there and my joke is that I was wearing leg warmers and a danskin wrap skirt, you know what I mean, with barrettes in my hair, just getting ready for my acting class. But that it was a stand-up class, and I just got on stage, and I just started talking about my life, and everybody was, like, falling out, and Judy Carter said, she goes, "You're a natural." I felt like I found my soul.
Oh my
I
god, I love
understand
that.
your experience. It really saved my life. It has saved my life all these years. I mean, just because I use it, it's therapeutic for me, but it's my expression. Some painters paint, and that's my way of expressing myself. Stand up, and I and
Yes,
I I have to get it out, and, like, I love when I'm pissed off
yes,
about something, because then I gotta get up. You know?
yes, yes. Found out about this audition for I think it was called The Funniest Mom in
Oh,
America
yeah, Vicky
for
Barbalack was
Nickelodeon.
was one, Roseanne Barr was the judge on one of that, but it might have been the LA version, whatever, I don't know which one
Oh,
yours was.
okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, oh, that's okay.
yeah,
So I found out about it from, I don't know, a kid. It was all very
yeah.
weird. I was like knee deep in motherhood with twins.
Wow.
It was 24/7. They got up at the crack of not even dawn, like darkness, they would get up. I would make them 3 separate breakfasts because they got up so early. We'd have one at like 6 and one at like
Jesus.
7:30 and another one at 9. And it was just like it was a lot. And I found out that there was this audition, or no, I was supposed to send a tape in, that's what
Mhm.
it was, and I only had this old tape, and I dragged it over to their, like, place to drag it on their website and sent it in, and they were like, "Yes, come to this audition." And then the audition was so stressful because my husband was out of town, I had to get a babysitter, my kids couldn't handle it when I left them, to take a shower,
Right,
let
right,
alone, like,
right.
leave the house. So I wasn't able to prepare. I was so sleep deprived and
Mm,
stressed
mm-mm.
out, and I I got on s I literally showed up as they were saying my name, and I was like I,
Yeah,
like, ran to the stage sweating,
yeah.
and I was so frazzled and
Uh-huh,
angry
uh-huh.
just at my situation, and I just started talking about that, and it worked, and it was like, all my old stuff wasn't applicable anymore,
Right,
and I didn't really know what I was gonna say,
right.
but it was such therapy for me to just get up and be like, "You're not gonna believe
Yeah,
what my life is like,"
yeah.
And it was so therapeutic too,
And
it
everybody
was like,
and
"Oh,
they
yeah.
laughed, and it went well, and then what happened?
Yeah, it went great." Oh, yeah, then I advanced to a certain point, but every time I'm away from it and I get back to it, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh god, yes,"
Yes, yes.
Taught stand up for a while, and then I couldn't anymore because my life was just too chaotic, and
Sure.
I miss it, I
Yeah.
miss seeing other people find their way with that and
Mhm.
find especially the people that have that, like, you know, carry that darkness or, uh, everybody has it, but I mean, the people that really maybe have an undue burden
Uh-huh.
and
Mhm.
are able to see how to not set it down, but maybe make it lighter,
Yeah,
you know?
I think that It's almost like if you're having to make it through the day, you have to find a way. And my whole thing was always trying to feel better, right? Like, how do I feel better? Obviously, stepping back and making fun of a situation, something that you experience that is sickening or horrible, whatever. And then you tell the story, and then it ends up being obviously because you're so pissed off, it comes off funny. And then you get more, for myself, I get really animated about it. That's why when I teach, I
Mhm.
always try to get people in their feelings because otherwise, it's just a bunch of sentences, and then the audience doesn't feel you, and they leave. And they always say like people will remember not necessarily what you say, but how you make them feel. And if you're doing stand up, you want to connect the emotional aspect of it too, not just the words, not just blah blah blah, not just cleverness, but take them on
Yeah,
a ride, make them,
exactly.
whatever, and then they get in touch with their feelings, and they go, yeah. That pisses me off too.
Yeah,
And then we start taking more actions, or we start standing up for ourselves more. I mean, it is relevant. I just think it's life affirming, uh, comedy.
that is the perfect description.
hmm You know, it is. I mean, I can give you 7 million examples of that, and I know you can too. So,
And I've had plenty of students that didn't really wanna be professional comics
uh-huh.
or take it further, but just that
Yep.
experience and writing things down and thinking funny and trying to see the funny in something. The funny of, one of the assignments I would give would be like, what, maybe time, like what happens between 10 PM and 2 AM,
Uh-huh.
you know, and it might be that you heard a noise and you got scared or whatever. And
So
maybe all
great. What
you
a
could think
great
about in that
prompt. Uh-huh.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
all you can think about in that moment is how scared you are, but then when you really look at it from a different lens,
Yeah.
it's so universal.
Right.
It's can be so absurd,
Yeah.
right? So, I feel like exercising that muscle is so healthy for everyone, regardless of what you do with it, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it gets people in touch with like who they are, how they feel, what they, what I mean, all that stuff, and also like changes your brain. I mean, we can get so caught up in so many negative things and then go down that rabbit hole, as they say. Like I had a friend, for example, who was visiting me here, my really funny comedian, Adam Barnhart, and he was visiting from LA and try to get him to check in for his flight the next day.
Yeah.
We're comics, so he doesn't know how to do stuff like that, and even though he's 60, and he has to pay for the luggage on the way back, and it's $75 for each checked bag. I mean, it's sickening right now, and the ticket was already expensive because it was
Yeah, they
Christmas.
nickel and dime you for
It was
everything,
so
yeah.
gross, and this Frontier Airlines. Anyway, he was so angry. It's like the first time he'd been angry on this whole, whatever 6 days or whatever it was, and that was like then I go, "Okay, can we move forward now?" Like, "Okay, we got it now. Can we move forward? Can you just accept, whatever and doodly do?" And so he comes in the other room, and he just starts going off about like, "You got money coming," because like about those self-tape, those subconscious tapes, that tell you, money's coming in, from multiple locations, yeah, there's,
Visualization or whatever, yeah.
money's coming in, every second, every day, la, 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 whatever. And you're like, and you're trying to like, whatever. And so he starts, it's
Manifest,
coming out of
manifest
your
the
nipples, it's coming out of your, you're vomiting money, you're vomiting cash. And anyway, and he's
and
like,
it's all going to Frontier Airlines.
exactly, exactly. And so he started doing this whole thing about how like, you got money troubles. Anyway, he just became this like went into this character and it was like all from anger, and it was saw the funny in it. It was hysterical. I filmed part of him doing it. I mean, seriously, like crying funny. And then he went up at the improv the night before last and he talked about it, Frontier Airlines, the whole thing just like exploded on stage and he said it was
I
great,
love it.
it just killed. And so again, using your truth and using your emotions and, letting that like it will save you. It will save you, I mean, do you want to it certainly feels better than the alternative, right? And what are you going to do about it
Yes,
now? It's okay to
that
feel
is the
sad. It's
truth.
okay. Feel it. Now what?
Yeah,
What's next? What else can I do? How do we move forward?
yep.
Yeah.
How do you pivot and make it into something that can kind of, yeah, move you
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you talked about doing shadow work did you say in
London.
London?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a student of mine
So
doing it
what
with me.
was that an acting
No,
class
no,
or
it was
or
separate. It was like I was talking about it in class, talking about, because as an acting thing that we need to, we're all born with the same traits, blah, 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 whatever. But one of my students was like, Cynthia, this is the work that I do. You should, she's from Spain. She's like, you should, I'd love to work with you. And I'm like, this is when I met my ego. My ego was like jumping up, going, "Who the fuck are you? Oh, oh, I
No.
will kill you. Now I'm the teacher. Now go sit back down and shut up." You know, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, that's the ego. It just like comes up
Yeah.
this rage,
Anger and
and
yeah.
and week after week she was saying this, and I'm like, I'm like, now listen to me. And then finally I agreed to go, and then me and my ego went to her apartment. Do you know what I mean? To her flat. Me and
Yeah.
my ego, where I was all that, I'm like, she better have a nice apartment. We're like, yeah, shoot that bitch. Yeah, she better have a good apartment. Better not be cold in there. It's freezing out here. It's so windy. I shouldn't even go. And it took me, and she kept calling me and going, "Are you coming?" And I'm like, "Listen, I can't make it. It's cold out, and I'm on Facebook right now. I'm too busy. Whatever. Just like So, but
Yep.
anyway, but then that was the first time, because the ego only jumps up when it's being challenged. And so whenever we try to do something that's scary or difficult or new, the ego goes, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" Yeah,
Oh, just
whenever
about
the
she was saying,
ego,
"Are you coming?"
yeah, but the ego jumps up,
Right.
like it comes up when like if somebody says to you, "You know what you should do?" All of a sudden you're like, "Roar!" Your ego just like, "Oh yeah, you go
Yeah.
ahead, tell me what I should do.
Nothing.
Kill you, I'll kill you. I
Yeah.
swear to God, I'll kill you." Because it's like what you hear is, and what your ego hears is that you're not doing it. You're not doing enough. You're not doing it right.
Right.
You've been doing it wrong
Yep.
all along. That's what you hear. But the truth is that you've been doing it right all along for you up until now. And now you're ready for more. And if we can like look at
Yes,
it that
and
way, yes, exactly,
yeah.
right?
We
But
try to hear everything as a yes, and
exactly. And it's not easy though, right? Because if you're
it's
sitting
not
here beating
easy.
yourself up 24 hours a day and somebody else comes in and goes, "Hey, you know what you should do? I'll kill you. I will kill you
Yeah.
44 times over. I'll kill you." But like but it's true. And so everybody grapples with their egos on a regular basis, because not on a regular basis, not probably not often enough, because
Mm.
you
You
know
don't even realize they just took the driver's seat.
Yeah, well, like, it's almost like they're just, like, settled, like, "Well, this is who I am, this is what I do," and then, and they don't challenge themselves, they don't meet new people, they don't, try new things, they don't travel. That's why this whole thing that's going on in our country is because people are not moving around. They want things to go back the way they were, and that's the ego, only wants things that are familiar. The ego
Right.
doesn't want you moving the apartment freaking furniture around in the apartment. We just put all the furniture in just the way it is. That lamp goes there, that chair goes there, that couch goes there. What are you doing moving stuff around? And what's this coming in? Like it's freaking the fuck out. And so like that is,
Yep.
and so that's what is happening to their country. What's that beige thing
Right.
over
It's the
there? You're
crotchety
beige,
old
get
man in
out.
all of us.
What's that?
Yeah. I said it's the crotchety old man in all of us,
It
right?
it is, and then you end up like, if you let the ego win, you end up moving to a small town on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and you don't even go outside just in case somebody comes by, and you're just behind the
Right.
curtains, and it's just you in that easy chair. What is that?
Mhm.
It better not be,
Not learning.
and then they protect you. Let me get
Mhm.
my gun. I have 74 guns. I'll be right back. And you know,
Yeah.
but that's what happens. And then because what
That's
you're doing is everybody else becomes the other. The
yes.
whole world, because the more you get insulated, and the more protective you get, and the more, your ego runs your show, the more that everybody else is the bad guy. Everybody else. And it's like, if you see somebody that's like you, you're like, "Oh, you're all right." And all of a sudden they go, "This is my daughter, she's gay," and you're like, "Ah," whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I thought you guys, y'all were normal. And
Yeah. Yep.
so it's dangerous. The ego is very, very dangerous. As we can see, Trump is completely run by his ego.
Yep. And there's like no way to not piss the ego off either. It's like you try to comply and you try to not be afraid or not organize everything in a way that it doesn't challenge you, but
Right.
it's impossible.
It isn't.
Just the way it's impossible to stay on his good side, right? Because he's all ego. So he's
Right.
constantly turning on the people around him because
Right. Right.
there's no way to
You can't
not,
win.
you know?
Nope. Nope. Nope.
You can't win
Nope.
eventually. Really.
Because the ego, like you say, he's in the extreme and the ego doesn't trust anybody. So everybody's the other. Everybody is the other.
Everybody's the
Everybody.
other.
Everybody.
Yeah. I
So yeah,
imagine his family even is the other.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not there right now. Where are they? Who's not helping him? Who's not talking about him? Who's not, who's not fighting for him? I have friends like
Mhm.
that. I wouldn't call them friends, but
Yeah.
people I know that
Yeah,
I've been
I do
friendly
too.
with.
There are people I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are
Yeah,
like,
and I'm sure everybody has a relative or
yeah,
5,
but they're like, you're not fighting my fight. What the hell's wrong with you? Why aren't you fighting my fight? It's our fight. You're one of
Right,
us, right? You know, why aren't you fighting
right.
our
It's all
fight?
about loyalty and sides and yeah.
What's that?
I said it's all about loyalty and
Yes,
side
yes,
taking
yes,
sides and
yes.
yeah,
Because they're also the victim, right? Because if it's your victim, right? And if you haven't addressed your victim or your pain, right, then you're going to keep finding more things to be the victim of, right? So it's
mhm.
personal, and then
Yep,
it becomes like, oh yeah, well, this group of people, they're my group of people, and we're being victimized, and so now you have to fight for us, and why aren't you? Now everybody's against us. That's why we have to address our shit. You have to address your childhood stuff. It's where it all
yep,
begins. It's not
yep,
because of this Bob you just met. It's not because of what's going on out there. It's because of
yep,
what from your childhood. And if you don't address it, it's going to keep showing up in different outfits, in different ages, in different hairstyles. To hello, hi, here we are again. Hi, how are you? Remember the guy?
yep, here I am
Yeah, here I
again.
am. I'm gonna talk to you like shit. I'm gonna abuse you, or I'm gonna whatever. It's gonna keep showing up until you address it.
And don't you feel I don't wanna put words in your mouth. I feel like our generation, Gen X, really was the first generation to really be like, "I gotta I gotta stop this. I gotta stop the pattern or
Mm,
stop the
mhm,
change the trajectory of
mhm,
this generational trauma
mhm.
and get off the ride."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I feel like before Gen X, it was just like, this is the way it's done. And that, all the like children should be seen and not heard. And all of that stuff that for generations was it, right? Like
Mhm,
your parents could beat the crap out of you. You kept your mouth shut.
mhm.
All this stuff would go on. And we were all so siloed and we were also indoctrinated into this culture of
Should.
yeah, of should, of spare the rod, spoil the child, of you can't talk badly about your family, your
Oh, right.
parents,
No, oh my
whatever,
god, no.
right?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
You keep the
Yeah, you
secrets,
protect the parent. You protect the parent.
right,
It's
and
all
I feel
yeah,
like
otherwise
our
it's betrayal.
generation
Mhm,
yeah, was the
mhm,
first generation that because we had more freedom
mhm,
slash were feral, and weren't as supervised,
mhm.
we were able to kind of observe
Yeah.
and be like, I don't wanna subscribe to that,
Right. Right. Absolutely.
and then
Yeah.
change it going forward for what is the next one? Gen Y, Gen Z,
I don't
whatever.
know it.
It's been very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
been very different.
100%. I think that's totally true. It's still hard for me. I wrote a show a long time ago called Rebel in a Blouse because I was still like trying to be like the nice Jewish girl. And
Mhm.
but I wasn't, I wasn't. I was a rebel from the time I was like little. I was told that by my father. You've always been a rebel, just like me.
We like that he supported it.
Uh, anyway, yeah.
Not
No,
really.
no, no,
Yeah.
horrible. But that was his ego. He dug it. I didn't think I was being a rebel. I just thought I was myself. Like, oh, this is just my opinion. I was not trying to rebel
Being
against
authentic,
anybody or
yeah.
anything. This is just what I think. I was seriously like 4. Like I was just
Oh,
speaking my
wow.
mind.
Mhm.
So but and older, obviously.
Right.
But I mean, to this day, I should say till very recently, it's been very hard for me to like be totally true to myself as a comic, you know, um, because of fear of what the family might think or whatever. And the thing is like, you know what? I it doesn't matter because if I'm not true to myself, I'm gonna lose. So because nothing if you're not true to yourself, nothing really works out fully. You'll never be your whole self, and you'll never be in full alignment with who you really are and do what you're really meant to do. So, and it's a hard thing to do, but it was sort of like an epiphany or a realization of how I cannot please other people because guess what? They're not pleasable anyway. And it isn't even my job to please them. It's not what I'm
Right.
here for. And they can have a nice life even if I'm not pleasing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Their joy
Yes.
and contentment doesn't rely on my being pleasing. They have a whole family
Right.
of their own. They don't, I'm kind of irrelevant in the scheme of things, and the fear of that, my fear was like, oh, of embarrassing them. It's like, no, I'm not an embarrassing person. I know who I am. And even if we don't agree on things, that's not my problem. And
Right.
and it's all about intention. It's like, am I doing this to hurt other people, or am I just being myself because I have to? Because I need my whole self to have a full life. And
Yeah.
and I think, I mean, all of us really truly do. Like, if you look at, like, God, what's her name? Warren Beatty's sister, the act
Shirley MacLaine?
Shirley MacLaine. Like, she's somebody who lived a really full life, and
Yeah.
talked about, like, how she just never had a plan. She just sort of, like, took the day as it came and just, like, went with the flow and said yes to things and did things, but she didn't have this big plan. And she was all very in touch with her spirit self. She was really in touch with, which, was a very spiritual person, and that's just
Yeah.
who she was. But I think that the more spiritual we can be, the more trusting we can be, the less tense we'll be, the less worried we'll be, the less I have to do this, otherwise I won't have that. I have to do this, otherwise, like, whatever. And again, I get it. I've lived in New York, so
Yeah.
right? You're like, and I realize the
The
thing of,
pressure is real.
right? It's real. And I realize the difficulty of New York is, like, you're on an island. Any second you could just, like, step off of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and
Yeah.
everybody's in this tight area. Can you move, please? Look, if I move any farther, I'm going to go in the water. You move. And it's kind of like that, and it causes this,
Making yourself fit. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it causes a lot of intensity and pressure, and like,
Yes.
um, like, that's not really who I am. It didn't fit my personality. And
Mhm.
even though I've lived there 3 times, for a total of 9 years only, but,
Mhm.
nonetheless, it was fun and exciting and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it's like, is it conducive to me focusing
Right.
on me and me taking care of me and me doing my dreams and my goals? And that's already hard enough as it is. I don't need to be pulling my hair out in order to pay the rent for this tiny apartment, where I only have
Right.
one window, where I'm like, oh wow, look at
Yeah.
look at it out that wall is gorgeous, gorgeous.
Must be nice out there.
I think I see some sun. No, that's not it. But yeah.
Yeah, the rent is a real thing, and it can influence, um, every decision that you make because it's breathing down your neck all the
Right.
time,
Yeah. And
As a creative, I think that it's really hard to balance being where the opportunity is and being able to create art,
right. Right. To be desperate.
you know?
So desperation is not pretty. And
No, and
that's
it's
when
not
the ego
conducive to
gets kind of
creativity.
cuckoo, like, when you're desperate,
Right,
and some people
right.
there that I've met would do anything for a dollar. And the way they act, what
Mhm,
they expect is, like, insane. Well, I got a big rent, so that's why I'm charging you this
mhm.
much. Now, you want it or not? You said you
Right,
wanted it.
right,
I'm calling you again in a couple minutes.
right. Oh,
I don't wanna be that. I
yeah,
can't, it's too
yeah,
tense. But anyway, good
yeah, yeah.
as literally getting down to the bottom, the feeling.
Right.
It's
Yes.
just energy. Just get it out. We don't have
Mhm.
to stay in the story, because otherwise,
Yep.
the story is
Yeah,
the
get
problem.
trapped. Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm a fan
That's
of
the truth,
therapy, don't get me
sister.
wrong. Yeah, 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 yeah. Total fan.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good.
Well, it was so great talking to
Great to
you.
talk to you, Eileen. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. If you like our show, please rate, review, and share on social media. Strangers with Kittens is taped before a live audience of dogs.